so lucky to have Shelly here, who has been named LinkedIn's top voice in technology. Shelly Palmer is the CEO of the Palmer Group, a consulting practice that helps Fortune 500 companies with technology, media, and marketing. He's the co-host of the Think About This with Shelly Palmer and Ross Martin podcast. He covers tech and business for Good Day New York, writes a weekly column for Adweek, and is a regular commentator on CNN and CNBC. Shelly's a prolific author. Along with his daily newsletter, his books include Television Disrupted, The Transition from Network to Network TV, the seminal book about technology, economic and sociological forces that are changing everything, Overcoming the Digital Divide, How to Use Social Media and Digital Tools to Reinvent Yourself and Your Career, and Digital Wisdom, Thought Leadership for a Connected World.
Wow. You should just.
And that was the short bio.
Can you call my mom? Just tell her that. That'd be awesome. There are only two kinds of people in the world, Rivka. There are people who know and think they know enough, and then there are people who are smart enough to know they don't know enough. That's it. And you always want to be the second one. Look, from my perspective, you identify a problem that needs solving, and then you organize to solve it. Full stop. There's no studying. There's problem solving. To study for its own sake, to be an academic, to read philosophy all day long and contemplate our navels. That's awesome. And I have been a lifelong student. I relentlessly practice and I relentlessly read. And we only play with live ammo at my consulting practice. There are many consultants who go to school, get an MBA in business, go right into consulting. They're working at McKinsey, they're working at PwC, they're working at KPMG. They never were in business. They're talking about book learning that they've learned from consultants who book learned, and then they're trying to tell people who are in business. It's like, let me describe something to you. I'm going to climb to the top of a mountain in the middle of winter. I'm going to strap boards to my feet, and I'm going to throw myself down the hill. Yeah, that's how you can describe skiing, but unless you've been skiing, you don't know what that feels like. And that's not a good description of it. It's technically accurate. It's just not what's happening. And so you get a lot of people telling me technically accurate stuff all day long. Doesn't mean anything. I don't care what you learned in school. There's no school. There's problems in the world. We are rich with problems. There are more problems today than there have ever been ever in the history of the world. Identify a problem as a group. Go after it. And what you need to do is to understand the problem set. And if there's anything that I would tell a group to do, first and foremost, it's teach yourself to teach yourself. Because it's the ability to, how quickly can you search on Google? Not can you do a Google search. Everybody in the universe can sit there and bang away at Google, and at some point you're going to get the answer. But how many people can sit down and actually, in a set of documentation, get to what you need to get to answer the question in under 30 seconds? I'll tell you who, the best coders in the world, because they can't know everything in the world. You know, they know how to ask the question they're looking for, the answer to, exactly the way the person who was thinking about the solution phrased it. And so learning to learn, learning to read docs, learning to understand how to teach yourself the way you are best at learning is the only skill that you actually need to bring to a party like this. You need to be awesome at understanding how you learn, and you also need to be awesome at understanding how to teach yourself. Then the rest of this is actually pretty simple. Identifying problems is harder than you think it is. A lot of times you will sit in a room with a group that's uninitiated, and what I mean by uninitiated is simply inexperienced. And you'll say something like, I don't understand why it's $5 for this sandwich in this cafeteria. It's crazy. They'd sell a lot more of them if they were $3. Oh my goodness! If they only had a buy button here, they'd sell a lot more of these. Or why don't they do blank? Or why don't they do blank? And in some cases, you think you have an insight, a key insight into why a business isn't working a particular way. You're sure of it, except you haven't been where the business is. One of my favorite stories like that is people used to complain bitterly about the cost of sandwiches at the Carnegie Deli, the most famous deli in New York City, which is no longer in business. They would sell a corned beef sandwich that was literally this high for $29.95. And like people's minds were blown that a sandwich is $30. You're walking out of there $50 for a sandwich and a Coke. It's like, what? They weren't selling you the sandwich, they were renting you the seat. And the rent they were paying required that they get $50 for the 15 minutes you were going to be in that seat. Didn't matter what. The food had no cost whatsoever. They could pile the food this high. Well, why don't they just sell a small sandwich and charge me $10? Because they need $50 for you to sit there for 15 minutes. So you don't understand the business problem they're solving, and so you have no context for making, you can't make an evidence-based business decision based on lack of evidence and lack of knowledge. You're making assumptions about a scenario you have no understanding of. And so that's the enemy. So that you need to identify, where are you sure you're making an evidence-based decision and solving a problem for which you actually need a solution, and where, and this is key, are you a solution in search of a problem? Because more people do that, and that is the key to failure. Be a solution in search of a problem. You will fail because the problem don't exist. So when people get discouraged, you put a team like this together and say, well, there are 50 people doing newsletters. We can't do a newsletter. The hell you can't. That means there are 50 people reading newsletters. Oh, we can't sell jewelry. Everybody sells jewelry. Yeah, on that street right there, the 50 jewelry sellers, you be the 51st one and do it better. There's a market on that street for people who sell jewelry. You don't get afraid of that. You lean into that with all your might, and you just be awesome at it. The number of people who misinterpret, oh, well, there's a little competition or this, the misinterpretation at your level is fascinating because things seem obvious to you. Why do those dumb old people do it that way? Because answer A, that's the way we've always done it. Good, they're ready to be killed. They can be taken out to the woodshed and destroyed because this is the way it has to be done or we don't make enough money to do it. Whoa, come again? Exactly. You're telling me if I don't run the steam engine 24 hours a day that I won't have enough energy to actually run the plant? No, sorry, you won't. You're telling me I got to buy all that fuel? Yes, you do. I didn't know that. How the hell are we going to stay in business? We expected to we're going to have, our whole value proposition was it's going to be quiet at night. You're doomed. You completely misunderstood where you were. So these are the issues we see in young teams constantly. The methodology I would ascribe to is identify a problem you're deeply passionate about solving. I don't mean a little passionate. I mean like it won't seem like work if I'm doing this. I'm going to get out of bed tomorrow morning and I'm not going to actually be working. I'm going to be fulfilling whatever it is I need fulfilled. You fill in the blank. It's your life, not mine. That's not enough. That's what everyone will tell you is enough. It's not enough. The next part of that sentence has got to be, let me go get some facts about this problem so I can deeply understand this thing I'm passionate about. Not superficially understand it, not go be a do-gooder, I'm going to save the world, not to use something political just for shock value, forgive me, not defund police when you really mean the police force needs to be rethought and we need new training and we have to root out bad apples and have oversight. Not, oh my God, let's tear down the walls because we don't like what's happening today. No, God, hold on a minute. There's some real problems here. So let's deeply understand what that problem is and then be super clever about the solution, because that's where things can work out. And the other thing I would offer is that very often young teams like to rely on technology because, after all, your birthright, you're all digital natives. You were born digital in the womb. You came out and everything was just, wow, look at this. I live in a digital world. Technology is fleeting. Build the Death Star. Tomorrow someone's going to build the Death Megastar. And after that, 2 weeks later, someone's going to build the super gigundo, colossal, death mega star. Like you can never win an arms race in technology. So don't try. All of the problems you're going to solve are problems that human beings have. And there is an emotional satisfaction to solving them. And there's an emotional reward to having them solved. And that's the macro. The macro is solve the problem. The macro is not, let me build a better Death Star. If you need an example of that, before everyone on this call was born, there were two word processing tools in the world, WordPerfect and Microsoft Word. WordPerfect was 1,000 times better, to this day it still is, than Microsoft Word. Microsoft bought the second best product, packaged it properly, and made it the de facto standard. Before Excel, there was another program called Quattro Pro. It was at least 2 times as good as the nascent Excel. At least 2 times as good. Microsoft bought Excel and made it the most popular spreadsheet in the world. Before Google, there was a search engine called Alta Vista, made Google look like stone axes and bearskins. Nope. Had nothing to do with the quality of the search engine. It had to do with the quality of the team and the application of that technology to the real world. So you can't get caught up in the tech. Having the best tech, there's a company you may have heard of because it's a generic called TiVo. They wouldn't license their tool set to the cable industry, even though they had the best interface, because the cable boxes by Motorola were substandard to the taste level of the engineers at TiVo. And so they're a small company who obscurely sells some software to cable organizations now, as opposed to have been the de facto set-top box worldwide. Arrogance and ego. Well, we're just a better product. Yeah, okay, you're also going to die in obscurity. So what does best mean? Like, what does it mean to be best? And the answer is there's no such thing as best. And that's where everybody needs to like really focus. There's the best pencil for writing on the piece of paper I need to write on right now. Is it this one? Would a pen do? Is this the best? Well, it depends on what I'm going to write on. If I use the word best and I don't qualify it with the target audience demographic and use case, then I'm just blowing smoke. It's a meaningless superlative. Oh, he's the best actor. What does that mean? Is he the best character actor? Is he the best star? Is he the best person for women 1834? Is he going to attract women? You must identify your target audience to be the best for it. So when you decide you've found a problem that you need to solve, and you all agree, this is the problem set, we're going after this, you define success by identifying that target audience and making sure you know who you're satisfying, so that when you say you're the best, you don't go, we're the best blank. No, we're the best blank that solves this problem for this group. That's the rest. You can shorthand it, we're the best blank, but unless you are sure you're the best blank for two-headed Martians that eat the young on Thursdays, then you're not the best anything. So that's the general macro for team building, technology teams in the semi-media business in the 21st century. There are many, many, many more subtleties, but I've got Hofstra and Syracuse represented here, and University of Florida, and it's like all those schools are great schools, and they teach you the old ways. And I used to love bringing the kids in from Syracuse. I was president of the Emmy Awards for 4 years, and I was in that organization for 35 years, and we used to bus in Syracuse kids for Emmy shows and let them intern. I used to love to sit there and listen to the young TV makers tell me about their aspirations for being in the TV business. And I would make some notes, and inevitably, one or two of them, certainly not the whole busload, would end up in the TV industry, and we'd see them at Emmy shows or in the Emmy organization 3, 4, 5 years later. And I used to pull those note cards out and sit with these individuals and say, okay, this is what you thought the TV business was. This is what you thought the radio business was. This is what you thought the media business was. And this is what you told me. What do you think of it now? And there's definitely fodder for a book in that. I must have done that 30, 40 times over my 30 years in the Emmys and in the Emmy org. And it's always different. Let's just say that. It's always different. So I can't prep you for life. I can't prep you for the real world any better than just telling you practice relentlessly and identify your problems carefully. Be great at whatever it is you're great at and understand how to use those, point that howitzer or whatever it is that needs to get pointed at. Questions, comments, criticisms, pushback? Tell me I'm full of shit, because that's a good thing to do. Start there.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, because I'm kind of in that position where like I want to go into the television industry, and I just appreciate that you keep it real. So thank you for all the advice you've given us so far, just like the short amount of time. I really appreciate it.
Libby, you're in Florida, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So you really want to go in the TV business?
I do. And I know, like, I'm in Orlando, so I know it's not like
no
super, but
I'm gonna take this a different place. Do you own a smartphone?
I do, yeah.
You're already in the TV business. The TV business that you think you're going into is a retirement home. It is a dying industry, not a growth industry. You want to be in the TV business? Pick this up and start making videos. Make them vertically. Make them on TikTok. Make them on Reels. Make them on Instagram TV. Make them every day. Be great at it. You like Adobe tools? That's awesome. There are 25 other tool sets you can get into. Pick one you like. I don't care what it is. You want to work in Premiere. You want to work in Final Cut. You want to work in Avid. I don't care what you want to work in. But work vertically and make content every day. I started my career as a composer, producer, writing music for television. That's how I got into the Emmy org when I was in college. I was a student member. Sometime this year, if I took the job, I'd write my 5,000th piece of music for television. I won ASCAP's 12th and 13th annual Film and TV Awards for most performed themes on TV. You know so much stuff that I wrote, I won't even embarrass you or me by singing shit to you. You know how you know I'm a composer? Because there's 5,000 pieces of music on the wall. And I started writing when I was 4 years old. And before I was 12, I was in Local 802, the Musicians Union, playing professionally. Mom and Dad owned music stores. I didn't have a choice. It wasn't like I grew up saying I'm going to do that. There's no question in anybody's mind no one had, I actually didn't go to school for music. I went to school for television at NYU. I'm telling you right now, you want to be in the TV business, pick up your damn phone and start making content like it's going out of style. Every day, something new, something interesting, something creative. Rock the house. If it's not your creative, if you're not in front of the camera, go find a friend and shoot them. You don't want to shoot, edit. You don't want to edit, write. I don't care what it is. Do not think about NBC, CBS, or Fox. Don't even think about it. Those are literally like saying, I'm going to go to a retirement home after college and live there and hope for the best. Those industries are gone. What's happening? Twitch, TikTok, Reels, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and 50 things that have yet to be invented, all of which are going to take your content and give you a way to distribute it. Aggregate, rise to the top. There's nothing NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, the cable industry, Comcast, I don't care, Viacom, no one can offer you anything you can't build yourself better. And if you're going to look for something super cool that's closest to the TV business, the closest thing to the TV business that's actually not the TV business is probably Twitch. Because there you can't game Twitch. Like I can stunt YouTube, I can stunt on Instagram, I can stunt on Twitter, I can definitely stunt on TikTok. You can't stunt on Twitch. You got to build an audience. You get 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 people watching you in the afternoon, goofing around. You need to be shouting out and tweeting like it matters. You're going to be aggregating feeds. You're going to have 6 different streams going on. You're going to have all kinds of like cool, too cool for school tools going on. They're all free. 100% of it's free. You need to spend nothing. Put OBS on your computer and get a Restream account and go. Just start making content right now. Nothing's stopping you. And by the way, if you're good enough at it, somebody in the real TV business is going to come knocking, and unless they make you a deal that makes your brain explode, thank them and tell them you'll think about it. Like, this is not a time when you sit there and... I went to school for television. Literally, went to NYU Film and TV. My degree is... I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Film and TV. When I went, the gates to entry were huge. You needed a $500,000 setup just to go shoot in the street. You had to rent it. You couldn't buy it. You needed a $2 million studio to finish a piece of video. You had to rent it. You couldn't buy it. In my iPhone, I can make a show that I could not have come close to dreaming of when I was in school. Like, I would never go to school for television right now. I might go to school to learn to write. I might go to school for the contacts that would get me into like a production company. But I don't even know what an 18-year-old Shelly Palmer would have done now with the tools that I understand that I have at my disposal right now, with Zoom available right now. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's like, this is, if you're a creator, you're in heaven. This is like God just said, everyone who's ever wanted to do anything, here, knock yourself out. So yeah, there's no allure, Libby. There's no allure, and there's no money, which is even worse. Like, if you really aspire to make $33,000 a year and work ridiculously long hours with a COVID mask on, go to NBC. If you want to make yourself 150 grand your first year out, figure out how to hawk some product on TikTok or YouTube, and you know, you're an attractive young lady. If you're present on camera, or you know someone who is, and you've got some skills, go use those skills. Cause boy, there is nothing the TV business has to offer you. And if you really want to understand that, just for fun this afternoon, go turn on any channel and see how long you can watch it before you need basically an air sickness bag. That stuff is ridiculous.
So I guess my next question for that was just like post anywhere, like post on my Facebook, post on Instagram, YouTube, and just like keep creating, keep posting.
So you got a social media team here, right?
Yeah.
So have a point of view, have something to say, right? All the things you know, all that silly bullshit about authenticity is all right. It's all true. You need to be authentic. You need to be, you know, the old joke is, in order to make it in Hollywood, all you need to do is be sincere. Once you can fake that, you can do anything. It's the same thing here. You have to have a point of view. You have to have a story to tell. You have to have a thing you're doing, thing one. And you have to make a promise, a brand promise. And you have to fulfill that promise on a regular basis. So if my promise is I'm going to demonstrate woodworking techniques to you, and every time you come to either my Instagram account, my TikTok account, you come to my website, you come to my YouTube channel, you are seeing me demonstrate woodworking at the highest possible level, then that's what I become known as. And I'm a resource to you, and I've made a brand promise. The brand promise is amazing woodworking. If my brand promise to you is I'm going to tell you how to put your makeup on in a way that no one else does in the world, entertaining, informative, enlightening, and by the way, killer, no bullshit advice about how to get my makeup on, okay, then when I come to your fill in the blank, Instagram video, YouTube video, and any distribution channel, I don't care what it is, and that's what I see, and it's a promise that's kept, that's what you need to do. So matching the consumer expectation with the promise is the hard part, because you're making something you think is easy for you to make. Oh, I'm going to make concert videos. No one wants concert videos. There's a million concert videos out there. They're undifferentiated. What's unique and differentiated about your product, about your output? What did you do that I can't get anywhere else? And the only thing, Libby, you can do, any of you on this, whether it's you, Zoe, or you, Grayson, the only thing you guys can do that's truly differentiated is put yourself out there. Because you are unique, not the thing you're going to do. I don't care if you're doing a makeup show. I don't care if you're doing if you're going to play guitar, it's you playing it. If you're going to film somebody playing guitar and put it on and say, I've done a concert series, either it's going to be, I'm doing Aboriginal monkeys that have learned to play guitar series, and every time I tune in, that's what I'm going to get to see, or I'm not. So brand promise, and then meet the expectation. That's all you can do. That is all you can do. Anyone else? Anything else? Grayson.
Yeah, I had a quick question. So do you believe that a large bulk of entertainment is going to be headed towards social media? And then what were your thoughts on platforms like Quibi?
Quibi was doomed before it started. It was the dumbest idea ever. It's basically Jeff and Meg trying to just raise some money, which they did. It has no future of any kind. On its best day, it was going to fail. Even, under the best of circumstances, it had no chance. What I think is going to happen is really simplistic. There's room for everything. There will be movies forever. There will be theaters, maybe less of them, but there will be theaters. We will go back. TV, the platform, is going nowhere right now. TV, the platform, meaning antennas and cable, where we connect households and we have the economics around TV, the platform. That's a very specific set of economics, and it's going nowhere. It's not doing as well as it could, but it's going nowhere. We've got a whole new world now where all the platforms we're talking about, all the Facebook platforms, Google platforms, soon to be owned by Microsoft platforms, all of them have a right to exist. They all have a niche, and each of them has a purpose that they fit, and each of them, very importantly, has a grammar and a native conventions. What I mean by that is what you would tweet on Twitter, you would not post on Facebook, nor is it appropriate for LinkedIn. What you would post on LinkedIn, you wouldn't put on Facebook, and you wouldn't put on Twitter, right? You all understand very clearly what the delineations are between the grammar and conventions of Twitter and a tweet, what you would do in 240 characters, and the difference between a personal tweet and a business tweet. You already know that. Well, the same native conventions exist in the video side of the house. So what's appropriate for Twitch would never fly on Instagram. What's appropriate for Instagram should not be on TikTok. What's on TikTok absolutely doesn't belong on YouTube. A version of it might, natively done with the conventions of that. So whether I'm going to do something that's about 4.5, 5 minutes long on YouTube, that's going to feel great to me, right? But I've got to can I do that in 60 seconds? Can I excerpt that and make that maybe 15 seconds on TikTok? Is that going to be okay, 15 seconds on Reels? Will it work on Instagram video? If I want to go Instagram Live, I might want to do a half hour on Instagram Live, get people in the house, do it as a promo, and maybe I'm pushing them someplace. Am I pushing them to a product I own? And is that community I'm building, do I own that community, or are these ephemeral watchers who are here for a minute? And I have 650,000 people on my daily email list that subscribe to Shelly Palmer at shellypalmer.com. And I do a daily newsletter. Every day I sit down, I write for 45 minutes, and this newsletter goes out. This morning I wrote about Apple. Of course everybody opened. We had a 29.5% open rate this morning. We normally have somewhere around 21, 22%. Steve Jobs dies, 50% open rate, but he doesn't die every day. Right? It's completely dependent on topic because it's news every day. The most trafficked page at shellypalmer.com for a while, till we figured it out, was spelling bee apps. Nothing to do with our business. We did a roundup 5 years ago about apps you can use for spelling bees. Well, apparently it's the best page ever written on the internet, literally ever written on the internet. If you type in spelling bee apps, you're coming to shellypalmer.com. Completely skewed our numbers. Now we of course ignore it, but it gets 500,000 page views a week of people looking for in their mind, did you ever think people looking for spelling bee apps? These people come to shellypalmer.com. The bounce rate off of that page is 100%. They go there, they see that. They don't care about what we're doing at CES. They don't care about my podcast. They don't care about my continuing professional education. They don't care about my consulting practice. They're there for one thing only. It has nothing to do with me. If I had any brains at all, I'd take it off our site. Instead, we just took it out of the robots.txt, and we don't treat it as part of our analytics. So what's native to what? What do you do? Do I build a community? If I wanted to build a community with that kind of traffic, I would have to then say, well, are they parents of grade school kids? And what other content do I have for them? And can I bring them into a community? Instead, at shellypalmer.com, we have our own social media network called pgx.tech. You guys can go there. Just ask to join and we'll let you in. It's 2,700 media, technology, entertainment professionals, a few engineers that work in and around the media business. We built our own social network because Facebook groups didn't make any sense to me. Why give the data to Mark Zuckerberg when I can have the data for myself? So I built a community around the community of interest and the community of practice. So is that what you would do with your YouTube group? Or would you sell them a product, in which case they're ephemeral, they come in, the quick hit, buy the Pellegrino, and they go? You have to make that decision in advance, right? So I'm not telling you one way or the other. Like, I'm not saying to you that the business of the movies or the business of television or the business of online are going to, one's going to win, one's going to lose. I'm telling you that you have the platforms available to you to leverage against a purpose. So if your purpose is Procter and Gamble, or if Unilever specifically, to sell Hellmann's mayonnaise, the demographic target for mayonnaise is every human being that's ever made a salad or ever had a sandwich. It's literally everyone in the country. So you're looking for the cheapest cost per thousand impression of why Hellmann's mayonnaise should be what you choose off the supermarket shelf. But if you're selling a Lancome press powder compact for $75, you know exactly who's buying the NW30 or whatever the hell it is. You know exactly why they want to buy it. And you don't need 200 million human beings to see it. You need the 150 people that are going to drop that kind of coin right there that day and attribute it directly to your content, because that's going to get you paid. And if you build a community of people who do that every day, and you now all of a sudden I've got 6,000 people buying $100,000 worth of makeup a day, that's a business. That's a real business. That wasn't available 5 years ago. You couldn't do it. 5 years ago, you had to have a retail store, you had to have an e-commerce site, you had to go make a deal with Amazon and the devil. Today, you can find a distributor, you can get a Shopify account or WooCommerce on your WordPress site, build enough content to drive business, and you can build an e-commerce business based on your content directly in a minute. Or you can aggregate your friends and do it. Like, this technology is at your fingertips. So the idea that one content tool or another content tool that was only ever made for itself, movies are pay-per-view. TV is two different value streams. You've got subscription and advertising, right? So, and like, why do I care about TV if I'm an advertiser? I'm not a direct seller. I'm going to bask in the halo of that audience. I'm going to find people who watch this show. I'm going to hope that if you're watching Law and Order and I sell something that you might like and you buy it, like, that works for me. That's stupid. I have a problem I'm trying to solve. I want to save the world by having fresh water somewhere. I want to sell pencils. Whatever the problem is I'm trying to solve. Build the content that's going to communicate what it is you're talking about. Like, communicate that, and then be immediately able to turn that data into action. Those tools are available to you right now. I don't have a legacy business. You're blessed by, you think it's like, well, we don't have the infrastructure. You're blessed by not having the infrastructure. You're blessed by having a green field in front of you with all the technology in the world practically free. Everything is freemium. Everything is, you can get to this level and you'll scale it if it works. Test, fail immediately, fail fast and hard, and then try again. And one of them's going to hit. I don't know which one. You don't know which one. No one's smarter than the internet. And the good news today, you don't have to be. Like, no one's telling you to be a genius. Just, we screw up at the Palmer Group 30 times a day. And if I could do it 40 times a day, we would. Because about once a week, we get something right. And when it's right, after it's been tested, the way we rigorously test, we're going to make some money. That's what success is. Success is forged in failure. That's what success is defined as. If you don't fail often enough, you will never succeed. So don't worry about it. Just take what's available to you. Keep trying every single day. Screw up every day. Screw up huge. The bigger the mistake, the bigger the success will be on the other side of it. And the good news is you're all really young and you'll live to fight another day. And with that, I apologize. It's 5:15 and I've got to jump to another meeting.
Thank you so much, Shelly. That was amazing. I know I'm ready to jump off and create something. So thank you so much for joining us.
All right, guys. I am available to any of you by email. If you have a question or you want to follow up or you run into like a massive problem, you guys are the future. Like, we're done. You guys are the future. So anything we do to help you, especially now, you let us know.
That's an amazing offer. Thank you.
All right. You guys take care.